All right, welcome to the Franchise Time Machine. I've normally been starting recently at 10 p.m. Pacific. I used to start at 10:30 p.m. Pacific. Um, Tonight, no one was on before me, so I kind of just split the difference and started at 10:15. It'll be around this time most nights. Just want to give people a chance to get their drops if they missed it during the day, and just do my usual experiments in the base game and stuff like that. So, hope you're all having a good day. Maybe watch some Saturday Showdown and call your shot. Maybe watch some Olympics. Um, Part of what I like to do today is continue the experiment from yesterday. The experiment from yesterday was, let me pull that up for you guys. See if this works. So I've been doing some experiments with the player creation um, engine. Hey Ezra, happy Saturday night to you too. For some reason I thought you were going on tonight. Um, but when I didn't see you on, I was like, oh, I'll just go on whenever. Give people a chance to get their drops. So yeah, lately I've been experimenting with the player creation engine, and we built some legend level fictional players. But instead of being major leaguers and going to the major leagues, they were independent leaguers headed to A ball. And so we're going to see if that would do anything different than just creating legends. Um, so Ezra was going to do some board game stuff, but got floored by your second shingles vaccine shot. Oh, that's a bummer. I know when I got my third COVID vaccines, so the first vaccine and then my second booster, so the third time, those like knocked me out for like a day. So I can kind of relate, I guess. Um, Yeah, so the first thing I did was I just created 26 legends in the base game in the major leagues. Fully developed young players, and they just destroyed the majors. I think we won 145 games. So like, okay, well that's too much. Then, as Barry Basher told us how Dr. Dynastic is setting it up for his player creation tests. So it's okay. Well, those sound like that. Those changes might nerf things a bit, and so let's see how they do. In particular, they were independent leaguers, 50% developed, and headed to an independent league. We decided the equivalent to independent league was like high A ball. Now, Max LP80, who often streams after me, um, had an interesting suggestion. We've been doing a lot of stuff with normalization, and his thought was, well, maybe they're getting normalized upon creation because there's no one else in that league. So that's an interesting idea too, because when we created these players, they still did super well. I mean, I boosted player development in the base game. That's one of the settings you can change to 125%, but still, 50%, a team of 50% developed, even though they're legends, should not have won 100 and over 100 games, which they did. Um, the interesting thing is when we went to season two, I thought, okay, well, they started 50% developed. We accelerated development. They're probably like well on their way to being full blown legends, but they actually didn't win any more games. Now, some of the other players started catching up, and so like the amount of quality across the team was higher. Hey, Barry Basher, I hope you heard me give you a shout out for helping us out with figuring out what Dr. Dynastic was doing. Um, but they actually didn't do that much better. So I'm looking forward to doing seasons 3 and 4 to see if that development really causes them to take off. But the other thing I want to do tonight, well, actually, before I do that, let's go into the base game real quick. I'm still alive in the 6L, so I want to see what's going on here. Uh, Normally I just do base game stuff, but I do play a lot of tournaments. And for those of you who don't know, the 6L is the 5L is the Laptop Hounds lower level leisure lounge. It's a tournament. It used to be all bronze and iron cards, and then they added a round of early silver, which I thought was a fun addition. The 6L is the late version. And so I'm still alive in it. And this far into it, that usually should mean a pretty deep run. So let's see what's going on here. I can tell because there's less than 20 hours to the next one. So 4+ hours in, I'm still alive. It's a best of 7 tournament. So that probably means at least quarterfinals at this point. Ezra started to have success in live silver tournaments. Hey Ezra, I really like the live tournaments. I've been making PTCS based mostly on iron, bronze, and silver live tournaments. I think they're super fun, and I realize now I know the live set well enough that I do well in live draft tournaments too. So I've been playing a bunch of those. Um, let's look at my. Let's set this to current rosters. So yeah, we are in the quarterfinal, and we're up 1 game to nothing against who's BYU. The BYU Cougars, managed by Jack 3232. But I think this is interesting. Did we beat Spore? We did. Oh, we did. We beat Spore in 7 games in round 3. Actually, it took me 7 games to win every round. This is an unusual route to the quarterfinal. All right, let's see what happened here. So yeah, if you're new to Perfect Team or haven't played the 5L or 6L, I like them a lot. There's a whole subset of us that like it a lot. One of the fun things is if you watch Laptop Hound's stream, he keeps track of the standings. And if you finish in the top 4, so if you make the semifinals, you get points. And each month, whoever has the most points wins an extra 20 packs. Um, so that the extra packs are a good incentive, but also there's just this like community around this tournament or these 2 tournaments. And like you start to get to know the other players. And I don't know, I think tournaments are always more fun when you run into someone you know. And now in this tournament, it's like just full of people you know because you all interact in the chat. And so, oh, this is interesting. So I'm facing the BYU Cougar. So this is my team, Low Diamond Phillips. Um, I'm facing the BYU Cougars in the quarterfinal, but the Cougars just beat Georgia Tech on my mind, which is one of my alts. So I have 2 licenses. With each license, you can create 3 teams. So I've created 6 teams. Now, if you've accidentally do a tournament twice with 2 accounts in the same license, you'll know that it won't let you do that. But if you have 2 licenses, you can have 1 team from each license in the same tournament. So if Georgia Tech on my mind had beaten the BYU Cougars, I would have my 2 of my own teams would have been facing themselves, which I think would have been interesting. But my path to the quarterfinal is game 7, game 7, game 7. So I'm a little surprised we won game 1 because the BYU Cougars won in 5, so they had 2 games of rest. My team has had 0 rest. Corruption. Um, yeah, so they had a lot of rest. My team has had no rest. So let's check out our fatigue status here. Actually, not too bad. So I have my fatigue set at 97%. So anything below 97% shows up as uh, orange or red. I didn't realize that this isn't like some absolute scale. So a lot of times I'll have a team that looks a lot more tired, but it's because my threshold is 97%. Like I'll look at my opponents a lot of the times and they'll have no fatigue, but when I actually hover over their players, they'll be like, well, no, he's well rested. So I forgot. He's got 2 games of rest. But let's look at someone else who's come off a 7 game series, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, these hit. All right, these hitmen came off a 7 game series, so they should be pretty tired. Okay, he's also clearly set his fatigue status higher because at 87%, I think that for a lot of teams, this would only be orange, but this is yellow. So okay, like at 38% on my team, it would show up as like red because 96 is my threshold. So this person's 38% um status and they're still orange. My guys are orange at like 80%. So that's one thing I didn't realize this until like well into PT 24 that the fatigue signifiers are relative. So when you're looking at another team's lineup to see how tired they are, just keep that in mind. You actually have to hover over them to see the percentages. Don't just go by the color code. Okay, so we won game two. We're up 2-0. That's a good sign. And I wonder we should be a little more rested now too, because yeah, so now well Manning's tired because he's a pitcher. We had two other players that were orange before. They must have gotten rested the last game because that's how I have my sliders set. Um So I rest batters when their fatigue hits 97. I know some people set this to 95. Some others set it to 90. Um, but one of the big things that helped improve my tournament play in PT 24 was when I learned about fatigue management. And so, as long as we're looking at this tournament, I thought I'd share that with y'all in case you're doing tournaments. That's the main thing that probably well, not it's not the main thing, but let me say this: my journey in PT in Perfect Team, I started in uh, December of PT 24, meaning December of 2023, and there were a few things that like caused step function improvements in my tournament play. The first was watching the other streamers. So I watched Dr. Dynastic build Dead Ball Gold rosters. I watched by then D Block was streaming. I watched D Block build lower level rosters. I think especially Iron and Bronze. Um, who else? I watched DVC a lot, but I don't think I remember him doing a lot of roster building. Um, anyway, anytime someone was building rosters, especially during PTCS, people would be building rosters. I'd check it out and learn something. So that was like the first big step function. Then the next thing I started doing was every time I got knocked out of a tournament, I would look at the champion and the runner up and see who they were playing and what their and how they arranged their bullpen and stuff. Um, and so that was like another big improvement. And it wasn't just like it wasn't so much copying who they were using. It was like looking at who they were using, and sometimes they'd be like, "Oh, that's a player I haven't noticed before. Let me try them out." But a lot of times it was more just like, "Oh, this person is playing a lot of players with power. This person's playing a lot of players with eye." And it was just like getting a sense of the different ways people were building rosters and which ones tended to end up in the finals more often. So that was a big step. And then the fatigue thing was like third or fourth, but it was a time when like I was getting diminishing returns on what I was learning, and then fatigue was like a big jump again in my improvement. And so, all those things add up. And the good thing is like all that stuff is at your fingertips. Like this is all known stuff now. So I feel like people who are starting perfect team now, um, and and I'm sure people who played for a long time felt this way when I was starting in PT 24 too. It's like there's so much information out there. It's great for new players. So yeah. So anyway, I just want to kind of look at this and see what was going on. I was surprised to be in this so late. So this means if we can win two more games, we will make it to the semifinals, and that's where you start getting points from Laptop Pound for the monthly standings. And I think this month I'm already out of the running. Um, but you also get entries into a random spin for anyone who's gotten a top four finish. You can get in a random draw and win packs. And then if you knock out Laptop Pound in any tournament, you also get. Uh, I think that one might not be random. That might be whoever knocks him out the most times. But we won't have a chance to knock him out. Let's see where he went out. Um, he usually plays his Gladiators team. Let me see if I can spot him. Oh, here he is. Oh, he lost in the first round today. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, so there won't be any bounty chance here, but all right. So then the other thing I wanted to do today was I wanted to start tracking some pack ripping. And um I mean jokingly we talk about pack luck. Frankly, I'm sure the I'm sure the random number generator and the pack ripping engine are fair. I'm not doing this because I think there's some big conspiracy, but I do think it's interesting that like I watched EVC in the morning rip I think it was like 100 and some packs and basically get nothing. And then this evening watch Dishnet 34 rip uh so Denny says they hate you. I'm assuming you mean that the packs hate you. But then you watch Dishnet 34 almost on a weekly basis just rip diamond, you know, regular pack after regular pack with diamonds and combinators and perfect cards. And tonight was no exception. Now, granted, I think the thing to also keep in mind is towards the end of his stream, he was ripping diamond packs, so of course they're gonna have diamonds in them. But in the run up every week, it's regular packs. So just the I should actually go through the VODs and do what I'm about to do for myself for his rips because I think he was ripping 130 some packs tonight. I might have that number wrong, but that actually might be EDC's number. But he's ripping like around 100 packs, and just the sheer number of diamonds and perfects. It definitely seems above expected value. And again, I'm not saying there's anything untoward going on. I'm just saying it's interesting that like, and it's a small sample size, right? I mean, 100 packs sounds like a lot, but when you think about like one perfect happens every 1,000 cards, 100 packs is a small sample size because that's not even enough to get expected value of one on perfect cards. So I get that we're going to be dealing with small sample sizes, but over the course of the season, if I string enough of these together, it'll be just interesting to see like, what's the long run average? Am I getting close to expected value? Am I below or above? Are there any trends? Like, does it go up or down, or is it pretty consistent? Um, I don't know that we're going to be able to tell anything, but I have to open a bunch of packs anyway. I have over 3,500 packs across my 6 accounts. So I figured, like, why not do something interesting with it on the stream? Okay, this is not related to the 6L, but I got a pop up here that says, you did well in the daily live bronze. You've received 2 standard packs. So I think that means I must have finished 17th through 32nd. But you string enough of those together and you get into PTCS. So the last 2 cycles, all 6 of my teams have qualified for PTCS: 2 irons, two bronzes, and 2 silvers. And most of that is on the strength of live tournaments. Yeah, so you're right. Dish does have the touch. So I was gonna set up here. Let me pull this up here. I was gonna set up this table where I just tracked. Like I thought maybe each session I'd do 167 packs, And the reason I chose that is that's just over 1,000 cards. That's an expected value of one perfect card. Now, again, I understand that's not how probability works. Because you open 1,000 cards does not mean you get one perfect card. I get that. You can hold off on correcting me in chat. Like I understand that. Um, but I do think it'd be interesting to do this over and over and compile the results over time and see what it looks like. Um, it's not my usual stream of doing weird experiments in the base game. We'll still do that. We'll go back to the seasons 3 and 4 of our independent league A ball generated legends. But I thought maybe I'd do this on Saturdays because I think Saturdays seem to be pretty slow. And how this probably work? Is it like magnets? The magnet reference will never not make me laugh. Uh, and if you don't know what we're talking about, I would just encourage you to. Well, no, I'm not encouraging you to look it up because it's so dumb. But how do magnets work? Um, yeah. So my understanding is the ratio of perfect cards is like 1 to 1,000, right? Nobody knows. That is the correct answer. Right, so our expected value of perfect cards is 1. And I should have done this in a spreadsheet, but now I think for diamonds, it's 1 to 150. I actually do have a spreadsheet for this because when EVC does Rip a Pack of Palooza, I put in like the number of packs he's opening and the different kinds, and it spits out for me like expected value numbers. So, all right, so the expected value here should be about 6.7. Right, it's actually 6.66666. Gold is I think 1 to 50. Ezra wants to take my lunch money now. So that's 20. So that, even though like I know that number, the fact that 167 packs should yield 20 gold
Why do you
is
keep following
for
me
some reason still
around?
feels like a lot to me. So combis are hard because their ratio varies by level. Oh, thank you. Someone just followed. That's my that's my follower. What do you call that? It's like my follower. I forget what it's called. It's like this the sign of someone just followed. So I missed who it was. I'm trying to find it here. Oh, Badger W4. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Hang out, chat, lurk, do whatever you want. Collect your drops. I'm here to give drops. Okay, so the ratio is zero useful. That's true. The ratio of combos is some number above zero. The ratio of useful combos is some number very close to zero. Oh, you slept through the morning streams. Okay, well you're in luck. I usually try to stream for about 2 hours to make sure people get their drops. So um you'll get your affiliate drops at least. Um, okay, so I think for irons the ratio is 1 to 400, but I think the ratio what I don't remember is if the ratio gets higher or lower from there. But we can fine tune this number for now. But for now, we'll just use 400, which should be about 2.5. Cicero TK says, I think Magnus worked like Richie Ashburn does against the Giants. Oh, sorry. Like original Met Richie Ashburn does against the Giants. I have a feeling during this experiment, Ezra and Cicero are going to get in a virtual fist fight in the chat. Okay, so I just want to do a round here of 167 cards and just see what happens. And I need to add a row. I need to add a column here. Actually, let's do this. We'll call this EV and we'll call this actual. Oops. Ah, okay. And I'll just update this as we go. I guess as long as we do this, I should track live and historical too. It's always better to collect more data and toss it later if you don't need it. So, Mr. Demands Sister be banned for hate speech. I mean, the only thing I see wrong with what he says is that he left out original Met Richie Ashburn. So I don't think there'll be any banning for that one. Actual live, actual historic. Okay. So Badger W4 says, maybe I'm just extremely unlucky. I found that 1 to 1,000 cards is a perfect card. Not even be close in my last 1,400 packs. So 1,400 packs is 5,600 cards. So you should have 5.6 perfects. You've drawn a total of 6 perfect, 3 perfect cards. Yeah. So Badger, one of the reasons I want to do this is I think what you experience is what most people feel like they're experiencing too. And um, it's not that I want to like prove people wrong. I just want to kind of see for myself, like what's my actual experience versus what I feel like is happening. Um, I don't mean this at all to like dissuade people from feeling like they're unlucky, but I think a lot of times, especially after we watch something like DishNet 34 rip all those diamond and perfect cards tonight. Um, it's easy to feel like you're individually snake bit. Um, oh, you're right. No, you're right. 1400 times 6 is 8400. You're way below expected value. Eight, I said, yeah, you're right. 8.4 is your expected value, and you've drawn 3. And then you have other stuff that happens like um uh D block. I hopefully he'll show up tonight because I want to ask him about handball because I watched some handball tonight in the Olympics, and he used to play handball. And also, I want to confirm. I think he said he pulled something like 17 consecutive live perfects, and this year the perfect ratio is 45, or the live ratio is 45 to 55. So 45 live cards for every 55 historic cards. Um, and I think in PT24 it was even worse. It was like 30/70 or something. So it's basically 4.45 to the 17th, right? So 0.45 to the 17th, right? That's a 0.0001% chance of that happening to somebody. A 0.00001% chance. And yet it happened to D Block. So I think we all have those streaks, or or if you're new to Perfect Team, like it might feel like your entire time in Perfect Team, where these ratios and expected values don't seem to apply to you. And so I just want, like, I'm not trying to prove anyone wrong or prove anyone right. I just want to put some numbers towards what I'm feeling. And what I'm feeling a lot of times is like, man, I have no pack luck. So that's one of the things I want to do tonight. I do appreciate though that this topic is generating some interest from the chat. So maybe I'm onto something here. Okay, let's see what happened in my game three of this round. So Badger's been tracking for years and has never come close to 1 to 1,000. Yeah, and so I just thought this probably has been done a million times, but then I talked to some of the affiliate streamers who've been around for a while, and they said like no, like they think DishNet does track his uh, ratios, and in the course of doing Rip-a-Pack-a-Palooza and stuff, um, EVC probably has data, but it's disaggregated across all his different Rip-a-Pack-a-Palooza sessions. Um, but a few of the more experienced streamers said like they don't know of anyone who's done this consistently on stream, and so that it might be worth doing. So the fact that people seem interested in it means we'll do it tonight for sure. And then if it still seems like people are interested, like I'll do it again. Okay, we're up 3-1 now. We got two updates in a row, so that's cool. So let me just see. Oh, sorry. I just got two tournament updates in a row. So we're now at 3-1 in the Cougars. If we win, this LOD team, the Lodi Red Stockings, are up 3-1 also. And that is a Chapel 27 team. I'm not familiar with Chapel 27. On the other side, the Denver Bel Airs, I get knocked out by them all the time. WX Scott, he's in chats a lot too. And then, oh, lots of 3-1 series today. The Pensacola Swamp Angels. Answer prefers Chapel 26. All right, so, oh, who? I think I know the Hitmen, right? Who are the Hitmen? Oh, no. Next two? I don't know who next two is, unless that's someone's alt. Okay, so all my accounts have tons of packs to open. So let's see. This is my low diamond solo team. This is not yet a theme team. I came up with a name that I liked first, and then I thought, oh, maybe I'll make it a theme team, but it's not a theme team. They have 584 packs to open, but I think let's go to the flagship. Um, oh yeah, someone told me I should not do my password on stream. I can kind of understand why, because sometimes my computer freaks out and it jumps back into the other. There's like the window for typing your username and the window for typing your password. Sometimes like my computer freaks out and the cursor jumps to the username window, so you would actually end up seeing part of my password. So maybe that's why they recommended that I not do this on stream. Badger W4 says, see what I'd like to see happen with the pack rips is have some sort of corrective algorithm so that if you haven't pulled a perfect in 167 standard packs, your odds go up until they've corrected it. And if you draw too many, your odds should go down until it's been corrected. Yeah, I think there's just their built-in assumption that in the long run things will even out, but it does seem sometimes like it's like how does D Block get 17 live perfects in a row? It does make you think sometimes that like there is a glitch or a bug. Oh wait, I should sign up for some iron tournaments here. Why aren't I signed up? I'm usually signed up. Hold on, let me sign up for some iron tournaments real quick. Okay, sorry about that. So, oh, I must have opened some packs with this account. Hmm. Yeah, Badger, I think what happens is like I'm assuming across the world of Perfect Team it works out, but then for individuals, like for D Block, right? Like the 45% live did not work out. For you, the long run average of 1,000 cards per perfect is not working out. Sister was saying, I will say that this year it really seems that the perfect pool is low. It makes me wonder if the algorithm is designed to look at everyone playing the game so that every player pulling higher than a normal perfects others will. So you're saying maybe it's balancing, but it's balancing across all players, which is kind of like the opposite of what Badger's asking for, which is if you're unlucky, let it help you improve your own luck. But I think what Sister was saying is if you're unlucky, it might be to offset someone else's good luck, which is like an extra kick in the teeth. Um, so yeah, I mean, again, I'm not assuming there's some sort of like glitch or conspiracy or bug, but maybe in the course of doing this, like maybe if we generate enough data, maybe we take it to the forums or to the developer and say, hey, um, this seems weird that this is happening. Um, it's really hard to stay competitive without the ability to draw perfects. Yeah, no, I agree, Badger. So I think I'm trying to figure out. There's one of my accounts that's like over 700. So let me see if I can find that account. I'm gonna open a different account here. It's funny because this is all very similar to the normalization conversation we were having about the base game. Okay, okay, this account has 644. So maybe we'll use this one. One of them has 700 though. That's the one I was hoping to find. Hold on a second. After I saw that I wasn't entered in any iron tournaments there, let me. I have my tablet open. I'm just gonna make sure I'm entered in silvers or irons with my other account, my other iron account. Badger, you're also doing a Mets 1962 save. If you don't know P Boom G, you should you should meet Boom because Boom is also doing a 1962 Mets save. You managed to draft both Steve Carlton and Fergie Jenkins in the same year. What year the save was that? I think it was 1964. Okay, so a couple years in. Because when you start in 62, you don't even get to sign free agents, right? Like you're already at like the start of the season. Free agency is already kind of done. Actually, did they even? They probably didn't even have free agency in '62. That's because that they were still under the reserve clause back then, right? Like, yeah, Kurt Flood and the free agents were like what 70? Was it 72? There are players who are released; they become free agents, but they're few and far between, and they're probably not very good either, right? I would imagine. They're mostly terrible, but as years go on, there are a few gems. Okay. I guess people make mistakes and release someone who ends up being decent without realizing it. But yeah, you should check out what P Boom G is doing. You guys are doing similar things probably. Hey, oh, D Block, I have handball question for you. Um okay, I forgot one of my questions. I watched Olympic handball today and I was like, "Oh, I have a question about what they're doing. I should ask D Block." And now I've forgotten the question. It was I think Denmark and France. Are they good teams? I should have written it down. I remember thinking at the time too, oh, I should probably write this down because I'm going to forget it. And then I forgot it. Denmark is great. Oh, Badger weighing in with the handball knowledge. All the Scandinavian teams are great. Would you concur with that, D Block? And D Block used to play handball, right? The sport was invented as a way to practice soccer in the winters. Oh, interesting. Because to me, it seemed more like, even though it's like a soccer type goal, it seemed to me more like basketball because they bounce the ball and they pass it around and um. Well, maybe Badger can answer my question since D Block might be lurking right now. Uh, Badger, I do remember one of my questions. So it looks like you have to um you can't you can't go into the colored area and score a point. So like that's why people are jumping from outside the colored area and like jumping or diving and then throwing the ball. So but then I noticed there's like a dotted line that's further out than the colored line. If you jump from beyond that dotted line, do you get like an extra point or something, like a 3-pointer in basketball? Or is that for like penalty shots or something? Okay, you don't think so. Okay. I didn't think so either because no one was doing that. And when France was behind, if it were like an extra point, I would have thought they'd be like chucking it from far out to do that. Um I want to see handball manager. Maybe OOTP can develop handball manager. Oh, I also noticed that one of the players for Denmark, his name was Pitlick, which seems like an unfortunate name. But and I was wondering if Pitlick is good or not. Oh, Badger played in the '90s, but your hands are too small to palm the ball. So even though I was quite the athlete, I couldn't really play competitively. And do handball players go on to play other sports? Like I know some Australian rules football players have become punters in the NFL. I know there are at least two ski jumpers. This seems weird that there's even more than one, but two ski jumpers who've become cyclists, and one of them has done really well in the Tour de France and some other Grand Tours. But like it seems like Ham and oh, and like a couple lacrosse players have become NFL at least prospects, like playing wide receiver and stuff. So it seems like handball players might be athletic enough to do other sports. Oh, so handball's lucrative in Germany and Spain, so they don't have to go find other sports. They can just have a good living playing in Germany or Spain. See, this is what happens to me every 4 years. I start watching these events obsessively on TV, especially now with cable. You can watch like every sport you want and not just rely on what's on the main NBC channel. And so I get obsessed with these obscure sports. I start to like learn and memorize all the rules, but then I forget about them for 4 years. So then I have to like relearn the rules all over again. So Badger can only really go by relatives in Denmark. Oh, well, that's why you say Denmark is great, because your relatives in Denmark are telling you that Denmark is great. It's more like their soccer players who didn't have great foot-eye coordination might go migrate to team handle. Oh, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so it is official. I did advance to the semifinals of the 6L, so that's cool. I'll get at least a point there. D Block says in his city is more if you played football, you were not good enough to make the youth team in ham. Oh, so it was the opposite. For D Block, it was the opposite. Like handball was option one, and then soccer was option two. Patrick says, but they're a great team. Believe me, I wouldn't brag about Denmark's baseball team or basketball team. Okay. So they're great, and you have relatives in Denmark. Actually, I just realized I keep you ripping packs while we talk about this. So we're gonna rip. So D Block. One of the things we're gonna do a few things tonight, but one of them is I'm gonna open 167 packs, and I'm gonna do this over and over. Maybe every Saturday, because Saturdays seem to be pretty slow. And we're gonna populate this table. Oh, Badger, you're only second generation American. Interesting. Danish by descent. Well, I'm zero generation American. I was born in Japan, so technically, I guess my kids are first generation American. Uh, Denmark is traditionally one of the powerhouses of handball. Okay, it's confirmed. Not just by Badger's Danish family, but by D Block, a northern German, who says Denmark is a powerhouse. So yeah, we're gonna populate this table, and we're gonna do it multiple times. And over the course of a season, we'll have a bunch of these, and we'll get to see like, you know, are we consistently below or above EV? Yeah, no, Badger. I didn't seem like you were bragging. I just thought it was funny that you're like, "Oh yeah, Denmark's great," and then later you're like, "Yeah, my family's from Denmark." Oh, D Block. What about Pitlick? Is Pitlick one of your favorite players? I just like his name, Pitlick. Well, I know they're great because I'm Danish and follow Danish teammates, Danish teams. All right, so I should open those choice packs at some point too. Ezra Ezra Denny enjoys the Danish. Okay, so we have 487 standard packs. So we'll rip until that number is 320. All right, so I'll make note of that. Pitlick is one of the best halfbacks in the world. Oh, it's spelled Pytlick. Okay. I just heard the announcer saying it, and I just thought it sounded like a weird fetish where you lick someone's armpits. So every time they say pit lick, I would almost like laugh or giggle. All right, so we get the 320, 320. And I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. I'm only going to pause if we get a gold, diamond, or perfect, or combi. Although I do enjoy it when EVC reads off all the names. I noticed Dishnet does that too. Now imagine if Pitlick had an armpit fetish. So, do you like? Have you been pleased with how the Olympic handball has been going? I don't know if like Germany has been winning their games or not. I just saw that one game today. There's this silver Mike Cameron card. Which account am I in? Oh, sweet. This is my team that does silver tournaments, so I can play that Mike Cameron card. That's awesome. Germany has won handily against Sweden, which was a surprise. Is it a surprise that you won or a surprise that you won handily? Welcome to Handball Tonight on our usual OOTP stream. Not that we won, but by how easily. Okay. So, who are the big favorites? Oh, here we go. We have a gold. All right, we have a live gold. So let's record that. And just to save time, I'm not gonna put this on I won't put this on screen every time. I'm just gonna keep it off to the side so that just to save time. But just the first time I'll do it there. And also I know that home teams in the Olympics usually have a pretty decent advantage. Is like France favored to make it to the knockout round? Or is there a knockout round? I did watch water polo. That's another one of the sports that I watch obsessively every 4 years. And they did. They seemed to be dominating today. I do enjoy when watching water polo, the announcers will say, "Oh, those whistles you hear are mostly for like minor fouls." And you just hear like whistles the whole game. It's like they're just fouling constantly. Yeah, Ezra Denny, it does seem like the meanest game around. Just those repeated whistles are insane. France, Denmark, and Spain are probably the favorites in handball. What about Germany? You didn't put Germany on that list. Badger says, frankly, he misses getting bruised up from team sports. But you're 100% disabled combat veteran, so you'll never be able to do that stuff again. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, and thank you for your service, Badger. Appreciate that. What were your team sports that you played the most? They are not. They are in the next tier. Okay. But it sounds like it's if you get lucky, you might be able to jump up, right? And D block, is it like soccer where there's like a round robin, like a pool play round, and then you make it into the knockout round? I just realized I was assuming that the handball format is just like the soccer format, and it might not be. I mean, I call it the soccer format, but I think that's a pretty common format in events like the Olympics. You loved your time in service. You played baseball, basketball, team handball, and ultimate frisbee and volleyball. Yeah, that's a pretty extensive list. Is there one you miss more than the rest? Okay, this is crazy, right? How far in are we? And we've had one gold pack. Like, I don't think I'm wrong to feel like I have pretty bad pack luck at this point. You miss ultimate? Oh, that's interesting because I don't think of ultimate as a contact sport, but you're saying that hurt the Ezra, you're saying that hurt a lot? All right, I just want to take a quick look here at. Okay, we're 32 packs in and have hit one gold. So 32 packs is 192 cards. With 192 cards, we should have had almost four gold and a diamond, and we've had one gold. Yeah, we're way below expected value so far. Badger says you get hit a lot in ultimate. See, I didn't realize that. I thought the only time you would have contact is like if you dove for the frisbee and hit the ground. I remember one time jumping over frisbee and having run into a stiff arm of another player going for the frisbee. Ezra says it was more the constant cutting and movement. My legs were dead, but you get hit a lot as well. You get frisbees thrown into you more often than you would think. I probably also never played at a very high level. I think I didn't even play. I didn't even play intramural um, ultimate. I played intramural. They didn't have baseball, so I played softball, basketball, soccer, and flag football. Okay, I think we're now at well, 35 packs, so over 200 cards. Yeah, we're way below. We haven't had a diamond, and we've only had one gold. Oh, here we go. Finally got a diamond. Let's see if it's. Oh, D Block. We were talking about you before you got here. What was your final streak on live perfect cards? Was it 17? It is alive. So even when we get a diamond, it's kind of sucky. So we'll also have data on 17 live perfects in a row. That's insane. D Block, I calculated out it was like 0.00013% chance of that happening to someone randomly. Because you're already beating the odds to get a perfect. and then you get 17 live in a row. That's insane. Oh man. Okay, here's another gold. We're still way under expected value though, and it's another live. So that's the other thing, right? 45% of the cards are supposed to be live. So far, we're 3 for 3 in live cards. I said I was not doing this to try to prove any like glitch or conspiracy, but okay, here's a double gold. But it would be interesting if we had put enough data together because, like, anecdotally, D Block pulling 17 live perfects in a row, that's a really like unbelievably crappy, astronomically unlikely event. And then Badger opening was it 1,400 packs and only getting 4 perfects. That's also less than half expected value. Those seem like more than just like RNG being RNG. Okay, we got a historic gold finally and a live gold. Oh, sorry, 3 perfects in 1,400 packs. Expected value 8.4. See, when I hear that and I hear D Block's story, it's like, who knows? Maybe there is something, and then maybe we can show that with some data. The unfortunate thing, though, is it's still probably relatively small sample sizes because even 1,400 packs in the universe of packs that are opened is probably still pretty small. Like even this 167 packs, 1,000 cards, that's like a drop in the bucket. But if I do this enough times over the course of the cycle, maybe we can put together enough information to see, like, is there actually something going on? Ooh, this is like a pretty. Um, what's that game people play where they try to put the lowest pack together? This is pretty low. T-Lux says those live perfects made me really fall behind in league play. Ezra, thank you. Golf pack. I mean, this bronze kind of kills it, but it's pretty good. This is one of the better golf packs I think I've pulled. Yeah, D-Block, I've given up on League. I just like playing tournaments now, and I like playing base game, and um, I like this card art on these throwback cards. All right, here's another gold, another live. So the other thing that we can track is live versus historic, and we're at 5 live and 1 historic, which is what 86.7%, and it's supposed to be 45%. Oh wait, is this supposed to be 45% live or 45% historic? D-Block figured he'd have to give up because the combinators would not be able to get the resource needed anymore, but at the beginning you still had a chance. 55 live, 45 historic. Okay, so I had it backwards, but we're still way below. Okay, here's a diamond. a live diamond. So we're supposed to be 55% live, and we're at 6 out of 7 live. Badger says, "Don't get me started on combinators." Oh, speak of the devil, Badger, you spoke it into existence. That's frightening. All right, let's see what we get. I actually wouldn't mind. So this account plays silver, but also like an iron would help with cap tournaments. All right, Canigliaro. Does Canigliaro play? I don't think so. All right, let me note that we got a combi. I do like that. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong out there, but with a lot of these tournament batch cards in particular that which can't be combinators, that the power creep's going to start pushing some of the combis out of even fully boosted combis out of the meta. Do you think that's going to happen soon? Cicero was out early in the cycle because all the tournaments were firing at the time when you were either at work or asleep and could not get in tourneys. Yeah, Cicero. I was awake when the tourneys were open, and even I couldn't sometimes get in. They were filling up so fast. Like I remember 5L and 6L. If you didn't sign up as soon as the first one fired, you weren't going to get into the next one. And so I ended up playing them like every other day because I couldn't get into them. So I'm glad the tournament signups have chilled out a little bit. Hey, I'm up 1-0 in the semifinals of the 6L. Okay, here's a gold, a historic gold. All right, that'll help with the historic ratio a little bit. Iron Weekly, you have to sign up 6 days in advance. I remember that. I do remember that. The Badger actually won Daily Silvers 3 times this week. Nice. Were you already in a good PTCS qualifying spot before that, Badger? I think we're still behind on expected value uh, on the golds. And all right, here's another. You know what? Every time I say that, something like this happens. And then Badger mentions combis, and we got a combi. I should just keep saying how we're behind expected value, and maybe that triggers the algorithm. You're in top 64, now you're top 10. That's awesome. So I know some of the advice Mr. Audit gave the chat last year in PT24 was once you're in like a comfortable position, you can try to qualify in that same account in another level. So if you thought about trying to like switch over to another level and try to qualify for two, I think the combis make it hard to do that though, because you really need to invest in cards now to do that. Whereas in PT24, it was pretty easy to have rosters for like silver and bronze in the same account because the cards were cheap. Oh, here's the Don Ossie card, former Met. And he's a silver, so he can play on my silver team. Awesome. Oh, another combi. Patrick always qualifies in the opens because you're not horrible at cap. I am horrible at caps. You do daily open high cap and daily open low cap every day. Yeah, I'm terrible at caps. 46 Jack Hyatt. Catcher. I guess it depends on what his framing and stuff are. All right, let me record that. That we got a combi. The only thing that we're on track for hitting expected value or exceeding expected value is the combis. So Badger, what's your strategy for caps? Is it just like 40s only for bench and bullpen, or actually let's see what the sell situation is. Yep, there's no market for this guy, and there's no way to quick sell. Relievers at 40 only. Okay. What about bench batters? Are those 40s too? Here's another gold. That's a historic gold. Oh, and a non-dupe. Usually one utility player is decent, two catchers that are decent. Okay. Okay, so our live historic situation is 9 live and 3 historic. So 75% live. We're slowly creeping closer to the 55%. And so Badger, do you where do you use your highest points? Is it in the starting rotation or like your power hitters? You try to find the best 40s to 45s for everything else. Like Justin Maxwell is a great option as a 41 outfielder. Yeah. Curry Foley at 41. There's also is it Josh? There's a 42 outfielder, Josh something that I like. He's okay versus both sides, but he crushes lefties. Not that he crushes it, he draws a lot of walks from them and also has decent power. Josh something. Derek Dietrich. Yeah. Derek Dietrich went to Georgia Tech. Gold Live. Try to get the very best bargain cards like Gene Tennis at catcher. Yeah, I like that Gene Tennis card. Sounds like my mic is cutting out a little bit. Christian Guzman at shortstop, Dickie Thon at second base for third base. You know it's bad when you see a silver and you're like, ooh, a silver. But when you say bargain cards, you're talking about like, so in the level, you're looking for bargains in the level that's separate from like the 40s to 45s on your bench. Is that right? I'm probably doing the opposite. I'm probably like overspending on a few players and then I'm not like cutting enough fat on the bench. You're talking about price for performance. Okay, got it. Do you also like if it's a silver, Do you also end up playing a lot of bronzes, or do you go silvers and irons, like silvers and 40s to 45s, or do you also like sprinkle in a bunch of bronzes that are good bargains? So G Block tries to use meta starting pitchers and at least one good reliever. Catcher usually punt on because their offense is so spotty anyway. Use Juan Francisco at first and third backup. Jose Valentin is second and shortstop. Nieves at left and right. And Maris at center field. I do like that Juan Francisco card. Yeah, see, Badger, your cap thinking is way more sophisticated than mine. A 2,000 point cap is a very different team from a 1,500 point cap. I don't think I'd be making that distinction. You know, it may be not quite as bad as EBC's polls this morning, but this is a pretty low quality pack rip session so far. Oh, see, all I have to do is taunt it like that, and it gives me a it gives me a high level card, but it's alive. And they're great values in pitching at silver and gold. Brett Saberhagen does very well at pretty much any level cap. Oh, here's a diamond. Oh, a historic diamond. All right. Real quick, let me see where we are here. We're at 400. So we've opened 87 packs so far. Yeah, 87 packs. So we're about halfway through. We're about halfway through. So our EVs, we should be about halfway to our EVs. And to our gold, we're halfway to our diamond, and we don't have the only place where we're off is the live to historic mix is off. But there's still 80 more packs where we can correct that. D-Block got a 40 Mac Wheat 40 catcher combinator. How easy to boost D-Block? Because he's like a dead ball guy, right? Oh, sorry, I started ripping and I forgot to put it back on the screen. But it doesn't matter. You didn't miss anything. It was just crap. It's okay. Expensive if you would have to exchange him in 4 to 6 weeks, but since you're probably not exchanging for the rest of the cycle, it is perfect points well spent. Yeah, that's fair. Man, I'm just like firing here and like nothing's nothing's popping up. Ah, see, I taunt it and we get a gold. And it's another live gold. Hold on, I'm entering the information in here. Okay, let's rip some more. I should taunt it again, right? Because we're not getting anything. We're going to be way below expected value here. Ah, it worked again. If you taunt it, you get high level cards. All right, a historic gold. It's been a while since we saw a historic. Okay, that the 45% is starting to level out too. I think we're going to get close to that. It will be interesting though in the long run how many of these we do where we get a perfect or not, right? Because we're going to open 1,002 cards here, and expected value says we should get one perfect, but it's not looking good right now. Another historic gold. Okay, we're now I think at or maybe even above expected value for historic versus live. Here's that new Harold Reynolds card. Oh wow, we're up 3-0 in the semifinals of the 6L. Yeah, we got another gold. I didn't have to taunt it that time. And it's another live. All right, Badger's back. You run an algorithm and chart every card in Gene Tennis, and your algorithm rates is higher than any of the 90 plus point catchers. That allows you to carry, say, Sammy Harrison to also play catcher and back up first and third. So you're not a modeler, but you have an algorithm that helps you value every card. That's how I used to do it in PT24. I didn't model, but once I got a sense of like, I would weight the cards based on their attributes, and it would give me a score. Like I was self-gen. So Badger, I think 3 times I've mentioned that we're below expected value, and all 3 times I got a high level. Actually, it was a gold every time, but ooh, a diamond. It's alive. And I think he's hurt right now, so he won't even help me in PT. And now I say it and get a diamond. Yep. All right, let's see where we are now. Okay, I think we have 53 more to go. So we're essentially about 2/3 of the way done. Oh, Charles is in the chat. What's up, Charles? Warbot. Catcher's really tough to value because it's a place where OOTP stats are most wrong. Charles, what do you mean that that their stats are most wrong? Oh, hey, boom! We just found out that Badger's also doing a 1962 Mets save. And sorry if that was loud. I just realized I was yelling into the microphone. All right, here's a historic diamond. Hey, Charles, you're an analytic modeler guy. Do you think that the ratios for the various card levels like perfect, diamond, and gold are correct and um are being manifested properly in the game? So Charles is saying, I thought this was something that was more widely known. Otherwise, it's perhaps a bit of a longer discussion easy to have in chat. Try to illustrate a couple things, though. If you go into tournament, look at the stats. Okay, that does sound complicated. Actually, do you have a VOD of yours that you can point us to? Because I'd be happy to watch one of your VODs. Oh, so Badger, we call so VOD is for video on demand, and it's what people call the recordings of their streams that are on Twitch, and then I export mine to YouTube because as an affiliate, my Twitch VODs only remain for like 2 weeks. But if I export them to YouTube, then they stay around forever. So Charles, we were just talking anecdotally about how like D Block had 17 consecutive live perfects. Oh, here's okay. Charles weighing in with his catcher stats issue. The brief summary is that all defensive numbers which are given in game are wrong, often by a factor of 3 to 5. Wow. Similarly, all the calculated numbers such as WAR and even simple things like OPS plus are also incorrect in various ways. So you say the defensive numbers are wrong. You're saying that like if the ratings say this player is good at defense, you're saying they might actually be like really bad at defense when the game engine actually plays out that player. All right, let me check in on where we are here. All right, 37 more to go. Oh, their statistics are actually wrong, not the ratings. I see. Well, that just seems insane. So the statistics in the reports are not actually the statistics? When you're trying to value a catcher's defense, you care a lot about their framing runs, but the number given in the game is so far off. When you say the number, you're saying that the statistical results given the game are so far off that you can't use it to figure out if they actually were good. Is it just for things that are calculated like zone rating, or is it even like discrete events? Like does it miscount the number of hits, for example? It's correct on counting stats and wrong on pretty much everything else. That's amazing. Okay, this is a pretty historically bad run of packs here. And now that I've taunted it, let's see if it responds. Nope, the taunting doesn't even work. Ooh, Berry Basher, intriguing. Saw something earlier at the Royals Cubs game that I still don't understand. Long post to follow to explain the situation. Are you gonna post on the OOTP Discord? Because I want to read that post. All right, let's see where we are. 24 more to go. By the way, it's been a while since I've had to update the charts because we have no cards. You had one call your thing you run when the first diamond came at pack 73. So that's 438 cards in. Man, still nothing. This is an EVC level of pull so far. This last stretch of I want to say at least 30 packs. Patrick Wisdom pinch hit for PCA. Initially, Wisdom went out on defense and right field. Suzuki moved to center. Then after 2 to 3 minutes plus conversation between the two umpires and Craig Counsell, Mike Talkman starting DH went out to center and Suzuki went back to right, with Wisdom being out of the game. Huh. All right, 15 more. All right, here's a gold. They're throwing us a crumb here. A live gold, definitely a crummy crumb. Berbash has zero clue what was wrong that caused it unless counsel screwed up his verbal to the umpire initially, but of course, zero announcement to the crowd other than the corrected defensive alignment. Yeah, Badger, I don't think I have drawn many good even BRF cards. That's true. But now that we've taunted it, maybe it'll give us something else. All right, I think we're close to the 10 more. Oh, there's a BRF. You taunted into a BRF at least. A 68 BRF. A lot of these don't even have a silver. Oh, here's a gold. Jim Doyle. A historic gold at that. Charles's model also works just from the numbers of the card, but if you're not calibrating to information, then how do you decide whether, say, 1 point of BABIP is better or worse than 1 point of power? So, Charles, it sounds like for pitching and batting stats, though, you're getting the right data for your calibration, but it's just that the fielding's messed up. Here's another gold. Live. So OOTP must have visibility on data on all the packs that are ripped, right? There must be some because it shows up in our card shop transactions, so they must have some central view of all the different packs that are ripped. Do you think they're checking it from time to time to make sure that like because they have enough data where it's no longer small sample size and they have long run data. So they can look at it and say, okay, yeah, we're still tracking towards one every 1,000 cards being a perfect. Are they checking that? All right, four more. Sorry, Charles. I switched. I realized I switched subjects. So when you say they don't check that data, are you talking about like the tournament statistical data, or you talking the pack ripping data? Oh, the packs. So they don't check the data, or they would have fixed the various places where they have incorrect information posted. Do they have different ratios posted in different places? I didn't realize that. They have incorrect odds posted in multiple places. All right, that's it. That's our 167. Yep, we're at 320. We're at 167. All right, so this will be more meaningful as we do more of these sessions. I think once we get to like double digits, I mean it'll still be small sample size, but it'll be a little more meaningful. Um we were under expected value for perfect diamond and gold. Um our live to historical ratio actually did improve during the course of the ripping. It ended up being 14 out of 22. So we're 64% live instead of 55% live. I'm just using the ratios I saw posted, but maybe I saw the wrong posted values. I did it by the only one that's kind of fudge right now is the combi ratio because I know the combi ratio varies by level. But I think I saw on the forums one for every 1,000 cards should be perfect. One for every 150 is diamond, and one for every 50 is gold. And then I ripped 167 packs, so we'd have 1,002 cards. They can't quite be right though. Take a look at the descriptions in the pack shop. Okay, let's go look at the pack shop. Yeah, it says gold 1 to 50, diamond 1 to 150, perfect 1 to 1,000. Live to historical 55 to 45. Is that not what I had? Well, yeah, but don't those odds though still apply to the other five cards in the pack? You would still apply 1 to 150 for the remaining five cards in that diamond pack, right? That's the question, isn't it? Oh, I assume that the one is defined as a diamond, so that's taken out of the probable that one's deterministic, and the other five are still probabilistic. At least that's how I interpret it. But if it's all six, you hit a perfect in every 167 packs. I mean, that's true if this 1 to 1,000 is deterministic, right? But it's not. Are you saying it's not presented as probabilistic so that you should get one every 167 packs? Because if that's the case, then Badger needs to have a word with OOTP because he opened 1,400 packs and got three perfects. Okay, what you're saying is that depending on whether you have five or six chances to hit a perfect, on average, you either one every 167 or one every 200 packs. Oh, yeah, so that's why I only did standard packs for this experiment. Oh, but even that, I see what you're saying because it's saying one bronze card guaranteed. So then, do I only have five chances at a perfect if one is guaranteed to be bronze? Yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. Because it's not saying one card at least bronze guaranteed. Yeah, you're right. So I need to adjust all my expected values then. And that also means I have to open 200 packs each time. Okay, so let's open let's open 33 more packs. Charles, you're right. Wait, what do you mean it's not the way it works? First of all, I just need to know, should I be opening 33 more packs or not? It turns out that in observed data, it's actually one per 167 packs. So it's treating the bronze as if it's still probabilistic. Yeah, boom, it's by card. If you look at the card shop, for example, there's tables like this everywhere. It's one for every 5 cards is bronze, one for every 10 cards is silver, one for every 50 cards is gold. Except that it somehow also isn't because you get a guaranteed bronze. Okay, when Charles tries to calculate the EV of packs, the way he models it is you draw a fully random pack, and then if there's no bronze, you replace that random iron with a bronze. But it's not clear that's quite right either. Okay. If that's the case, then I feel okay using the 167 packs as our 1000 sample size. I mean, ultimately, I'm not really trying to prove anything. I'm just trying to like us cobble together a bunch of these and just see what it says. So I think I'm okay with doing 167 per session. But I do appreciate you sharing this information, especially I never noticed the fine print about one bronze card guaranteed, because that would seem to strongly imply that the odds are only there for the other 5 cards. Except that you said the results show that it's actually applying to all the cards. There are far more significant issues with the spotlights. I mean, that's concerning too because they publish those odds on the forums, presumably to encourage people to buy spotties or at least make informed decisions about buying them. But if those stats aren't correct, then that's problematic. Oh, the spotties odds? Yeah, that's in the forums, right? Let me see if I can find them. Okay, I found them. Let me share them. Okay, this is for Spotlight 6, 7, 8, What are we up to right now? 12? All right, 11 and 12. Here are the most recent. Whether packs were good depends on the following questions. Do you truly have 2x the odds to pull a 101 than you do to pull a 100, or is that a typo? Oh yeah, that's weird. I've never seen numbers go up as you go up the table. This would be the first time I've ever seen that. Yeah, that's a good question. But just in general, I've never seen the multiplier go up as you go up the table. It's always just gone up as you go down the table. That's wild. I don't really buy Spotty, so I never noticed that. So if the odds were correct, the packs were good. If they were incorrect, yeah. Tandy Day 01. Welcome to the chat. Your Spotties this round were awful. You wasted a lot of money. Yeah, I don't think I've ever bought a Spotty. The price never seen. Oh yeah, even on 12, the same thing on 12. If you look at Spotlight 12, the 101s are 2x. Then it goes back down to 1x, and then when you hit the 99s, it goes back up to 2x. And the percentages don't actually add up to 100%, even accounting for rounding. Right, Charles, do they add up to 100 if you correct for these 2x's being 1x? Oh, the reason they don't add up to 100% is that Mike Keegan is part of the Spotlight cards, but he's not in the list. Okay. It would be weird for a typo to happen on two completely separate tables, though, right? Yeah, this is what I'm used to seeing. It always goes up, like 1x, then 2x as you get into the diamonds, and then 3x as you get into the golds. Yeah, it looks like it's just the 101s that do that. Did we have packable 101s before? I'm going back to see if they did. I guess there are no packable 101s until now. That's weird that that's the case for Spotty's 11 and 12, both. 2x for the 101s. It would be, but since Hegan is on the list of real cards but not on the posted list, it's clear there are two different charts. One that was posted, and the other is actually used by the code to generate packs. So are you saying you think the code to generate packs was not doing 2x for the 101s? I think the challenge with the spotties is, for the regular packs, people can do this, right? You can just do your own experiments and see, with the understanding that even 1,000 cards is a small sample size in the world of pack ripping. But if we did this experiment like 100 times, I think we're starting to get to some like significant numbers. You can see like how close are you to 1 to 1,000 for perfect or whatever. But with spotties, I mean, no one's going to be buying 1,000 spotties to see if the percentages seem to be bearing out or not. Right? Yeah, exactly. You'd have to open a ton of spotlights, or you'd have to like coordinate with a bunch of people opening spotlights to get enough data to say this table is true or not. So I mean, like I think like a lot of things, we just have to take it on faith that the and I guess my issue with the pack ripping thing is even if there's like nothing intentional happening, if there's a glitch, no one's going to know it unless they're checking. So like, is the fact that D Block opens 17 rip 17 straight live perfects, is that just really bad luck? 0.0000012% bad luck? Or is there a glitch? I don't know. But like, if no one's sitting there looking at the data across the entire universe, like no one's going to know. Oh, and in the past, there have been errors in the pack opening. The community always notices them long before the devs accept that there is an error. I don't know if that would make Badger feel better or worse. Badger, would you feel better knowing that you're right and there's a problem, or would you feel worse that there's a problem but there's nothing you can do about it? Yeah, exactly, Charles. Like it's hard to know if you're just an outlier or if you're part of like an actual significant issue. Yeah, so I think the problematic part, Charles, is like it's not just that they might not realize it's a mistake, but because outliers do exist even when things are working, they're probably conditioned to like ignore reports that would support them discovering there's an issue. Either way, you're getting screwed, so it doesn't really matter. I guess it also matters less if you're all getting screwed equally. But I haven't heard of anyone else opening 17 straight live perfects either. Hey, Badger, how are you on your drops, by the way? All right, we're back from the ad break. And Frank Badger says, frankly, devs don't care to get screwed. That bothers me. Little bothers as much as devs that don't care about their players. Charles says 17 straight live purchases is definitely unlucky, but will happen randomly about 1 in 2,500 times. So the community of 10,000 players, 4 of them will have their next 17 perfects be lives. And if you open enough packs to rip a lot of perfects, you get a lot of chances to hit a string like that. So that some players will have that sort of bad luck is completely normal. Yeah, so I think part of the issue too, though, is um, well, I guess two things. If it's not being reported, then like D Block reports it, and it seems like it's a one off, so it's easy to chalk that up to bad luck. And then I guess the other thing is if the developers, I mean, they're good at developing software. They're not necessarily good at why is it always to be me to evil? You need someone versed in probability and statistics to say at what point is it statistically significant enough for us to look into it or do something about it. Um, Charles has run similar things, and the only way you can catch these bugs is proactively checking the stats on regular. Yeah, and so that's why I was wondering: is anyone doing something like this? I mean, they can do something much better than this because they have all the data, so they could just like say, okay, this cycle so far, what's our ratio, and is it like somewhat close to 1 to 1,000 or not? Is it somewhat close to 1 to 150 for diamonds or not? One thing you learn very quickly when running a large online game is that players are almost always wrong about what they report, and you have to get your own data. Right, but they have their own data, right? So wouldn't it just be a matter of like checking their data from time to time? I mean, you would think it'd be a high priority thing to check because it's kind of at the heart of the integrity of the game, and it's a highly visible thing. Like we sit there all morning watching watching EVC rip terrible pack after terrible pack. You know, it's kind of a bad advertisement for the game, I would think. Although it's probably countered by people watch Dishnet every night, every week, ripping like diamond after after perfect. Oh, Badger, how are you on your drops? I think you should have your full allotment by now, right? Hey, I'm in the finals of the 6L. Let's see who I'm playing. Oh, I swept the semifinal too. Here, let me switch over to that. God, I'm all awesome because I'm probably gonna sign off after we check out my 6L run here. Carlos, you ever play the 5L or 6L? I don't recall seeing you in there. Which account is it? Oh, it's my Low Diamond Phillips account. Let me log into that. Thanks, Badger. Yeah, it's always fun making a finals, isn't it? Lat prefers that you play other turns. Do you and Lat not get along? Oh, you've co-streamed a bunch of stuff. There are some streamers Badger doesn't get along with. I'm not going to ask you which. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get I don't want to get it mixed up in all that. Oh, Charles looked at the Cubs Royals thing. You assume from the description they somehow announced something wrong and lost the DH. Well, yeah, I also assume they lost the DH since they sent the DH into the field. So then they'd have to have the change pitchers because they would have to pinch it for the pitcher. But the same pitcher continued. Yeah, that is confusing. Okay, so this is wild. I've never had this happen before where I had to go 7 games for the first 3 rounds and then gentleman sweep and then sweep in the semifinals. Like, you would normally think you're facing better and better teams the deeper you go, but for whatever reason, it's listed in the game log as wisdom hit from Merriweather, but then Merriweather continued pitching. Yeah, D-Block, thanks. Yeah, Denver Belair, I think is pretty tough. I think they've knocked me out several times before. Oh, no need to get into the politics. You get along well with 95% of the streamers, though. All right, let's see what happened here. Oh, let me see what their team looks like. Let's see who these Bel Airs are working with here. They got some live cards in the mix too here. Yeah, I actually end up doing this sometimes. Uh, Alika Williams, Nick Ahmed, Nicky Lopez, just like multi-position, good fielding, low bat live cards. So he's got a couple of those. I mean, I'm surprised he doesn't have any of the usual suspects in his roster. Okay, Badger, enjoy the Olympics. Oh yeah, they're live now. Man, we're up late. I might do that too. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. Okay, D Block, I wasn't gonna say it, so I'm glad you did. I'm looking at this, I'm like, how did they end up here? Let's look at their pitching staff. Maybe it's better. I mean, I'm looking at this pitching staff too, and Splittorf's good, but and Wheeler I usually take if I see him. The others are kind of like I could give or take. Oh yeah, this Elmer Myers card I do like. You're right. Oh, okay. Sounds like Charles might have figured it out. It was just recorded in a funny way in the game log. But given their lineup, I would have expected their rotation to be like a slam dunk rotation. So I wonder what carried them to the final. That's interesting. Also, the losing of the DH only happens at the start of the next inning. Oh, because it's not until they start to take the field that they realize they have a problem. Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. And we lost game one. That's what I get for wondering what's up with their lineup and their pitching staff. So it does seem crazy to get out the DH to get the pinch hitter in there, but it seems like they didn't realize they were going to have to give up the DH, right? It almost seems like they made the move and then realized, oh no, we're gonna have to lose our DH. Well, him hitting a grand slam that would make him a genius and you an idiot if you are um if you're outcome oriented and not decision oriented. But I would like to think we would all prefer to be decision oriented and not outcome oriented. Man, RNG really kicked me in the teeth on that one. We lost 8-1 to the Bel Airs. They have to know ahead of time as manager you never pinch or forget without knowing how you're going to line up defensively the next inning. I think that's I think that's more true in the National League before the DH because you had to know. I don't know that that's necessarily true these days. I don't know if that's necessarily sadly. All right, y'all. Badger's got his drops. I got to rip some packs, which I'm still way behind on ripping packs, but I got to rip some packs. Well, yeah, I think pinch hitting your last catcher is more of a glaring red light, but I understand what you're saying. We did not get to continue our experiment from last night, but we'll do that on the next stream, probably tomorrow night. And yeah, thanks for joining me tonight. Thanks to Badger for the follow. Um, Let me take a quick look to make sure I didn't miss anything else here. Yeah, Badger with the follow. And let's look for someone to raid you into who's doing OOTP. Well, there you go, Charles. I guess you did know. Right, who's streaming out of the park baseball? Just us. Just us. All right, let's try to find someone doing baseball then. Hey, do you guys care where I raid you if no one's doing out of the park baseball? Because I have an idea. So there's no one streaming out of the park. Um, so normally I look for someone doing like MLB The Show or recently the NCAA football game. But I've recently been watching this guy stream. He's an American guy living in Japan. He's been there about 8 years. And he's walking from the southern tip of Japan to the northern tip of Japan. And he's on day 103. And it's a pretty cool stream. He's a pretty cool guy. So I'm thinking about raiding you guys in there because there's no one doing OTP. So let me do that. I want to raid you guys in there since no one's doing OTP. And if you don't like it, tell me later. I'll never do it again. I think it's a real interesting stream, and I think it's more interesting to send you to than Alf. So it's his. It's raiding. We're gonna raid Sensei. Let me make sure I get this right. Sensei Martian. It's in English. Occasionally he speaks Japanese when someone Japanese talks to him. But he's on this real cool walking adventure, so I'm gonna send you in there. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for talking ball with me. Thanks for ripping packs with me. Charles, thanks for your statistical insights. Appreciate it. And see you all next time.